Hi guys, greetings from Bulgaria. After my big amount of coffee, I'm ready to record the newest video from our Selenium series. Let me share my screen. So, in the previous videos in the new Selenium series, we talked about sign-up forms. Check this video out. Also, by the way, before continuing, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the ring bell so that you get notified when there are new videos on the LambdaTest YouTube channel. Each week there are many of them. And also check out the LambdaTest blog. There are really detailed articles there that you will find many interesting things. So in the previous video from the series, we talked about sign-up forms. It's a really informative video. If you have missed it, check it out. It's really essential, especially for junior people, because many often during interviews we ask about these testing scenarios and even more advanced of them. Next, we continue with talking about using third-party services for automating emails and even testing responsibly in the cloud with Selenium. In the last video, we talked about handling this hard stuff for automation engineers called CAPTCHA, and we discussed them in details. It was really interesting. Check it out. And in today's video, we are going to talk about handling cookies. And also in each of the videos, we are going to talk about, and we talk how you can run all of these tests in the cloud, in the LambdaTest cloud, not just locally. So, handling cookies. So, most of us use online platforms for, and by the way, here first I'll give you some theory about cookies because many people don't understand them quite well. And then later we'll look into how you can interact with them in Selenium, and we'll even automate a few scenarios that are more advanced. So most of us use online platforms for doing things like online shopping, bill payments, ticket booking, and more. And these online platforms or websites use cookies to identify whenever there is a new visit on White-or-Not. They are not cookies that you would normally see on, anyways. So in simple terms, a cookies is a pocket of data received by your machine. And website owners, online shopping portals use cookies to keep a tab on your shopping cart while browsing in the website. And without the presence of these cookies, you won't see the count there. Also, what else? Some companies use cookies to display advertisements on user machines. Cookies control these advertisements and when which advertisement should be shown. And also we use cookies to track the number of unique visitors online at a particular time. And cookies are usually used to recognize the identity of a user of a website. Many often when we log in, a cookie is created. And in simple terms, a cookie is a portion of data that has been sent from a web application and stored in the browser. Whenever a user browses a website, the information about the user and their favorites is stored at a cookie in the form of key-value pairs. So, how do cookies work? The HTTP protocol used to exchange information of files on the web is used to maintain the cookies. There are two types of HTTP protocols, so to say. Stateless HTTP and stateful HTTP protocol. The stateless does not keep any record of the previous access web page history. This is just a simplified thing how things works. While the stateful HTTP protocol does keep some history of the previous web browser web server interactions. And this protocol is using the cookies to maintain the user interactions. Where the cookie is stored, when any web page application writes a cookie, then it gets saved in a text file on user's hard drive disk. The path where the cookies get stored depends upon the browser. Different browsers store cookies in different paths. And here, as depicted in the image, I opened my demo website, 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒔𝒕𝒆, which is a dummy e-commerce website. And when you open DevTools, go to application, you will find here cookies. You will find many of them. So as you can see, there are different columns here. These are the different fields for each cookie. What are there? So first you have the name, which is the cookie name. You have the value, which is this key value pair. In most of the cases in Selenium and other languages, you just set these two. Then you have the domain. Then you have the path, which is usually slash. You have the expiration date or max date. You have a size. You have whether it's HTTP only, which indicates whether the cookie has to be used only over HTTP or not. Whether it's secure, which means basically that you can use it with HTTPS. Same side, this field contains the value strict or lax, as we will talk later for Selenium 4, if the cookie is using this experimental same side attribute. And you have the priority, which is low, medium, or high, if the deprecated cookie priority attribute is enabled. And usually there are two types of cookie written on your machine. One of them is session cookie. These cookies are active till the browser that triggers the cookie is open. When we close the browser, this session cookie gets deleted. And then you have the persistent cookies. These cookies are written permanently on the user machine, and it lasts for months or years. And usually this, you can see it here from expire date. And many often when you click the Remember Me checkbox on login platforms, they usually create these persistent cookies. So how to test cookies in a website before even talking about automated tests? Well, the first test case is disabling the cookies. Disable all the cookies and attempt to use the site's major functionality. See what happens. The second thing that you need to check is to corrupt the cookies. Manually edit the cookies in Notepad or directly in DevTools and change the parameters with some random values. You can also check the encryption of the cookie. Sensitive information like passwords, usernames should be encrypted before it sets to our computer. The fourth thing is testing the cookies on multiple browsers. This is how actually you can use LambdaTest for this purpose, for cross-browser testing of the cookies. You can check the deletion from your web application page. Check whether the cookie are deleted from your web app or not, and what will happen. You can also selectively reject cookies or access the cookie. You can try that. I mean, cookies written by one website should not be accessible by others. But anyways, as a cookie privacy policy, will be one of the cases that we will automate. Make sure from your, you need to check your design documents that no personal or sensitive data is stored in the cookie. Especially in Europe, this is a big deal. Another thing, you need to verify if cookies are persistent or not, according to your requirements, by checking the cookie type in the expiration dates in the cookie file or browser console. 10. You need to validate if an expiration date is set accordingly to the requirements. In some cases, it is vital to check if the cookie expiration date is updated by working with an application to refresh the session. For example, this can be checked in the browser console or in the cookie file itself. If some cookies are user-specific, it is important to ensure that they're deleted or simply ignored if another user walks into the application unless it's said differently in the specification. And lastly, you can check if the same cookie are acceptable in all environments. Issues could be caused by the use of this wildcard in the cookie path. They're called also super cookies. If this is a requirement to allow it, some access issue can be caused because of a different encryption keys. So yeah. Lastly, before moving to the code examples, let's discuss the difference between a cookie and a session. Cookies are client-side files that contain user information, while sessions, they are server-side files which contain user information. Cookies end depending on a lifetime you set for it, while session ends when a user closes his browser. And the official maximum cookie size is 4 kilobytes, and within a session you can store as much data as you like. The only limits you can reach is the maximum memory a script can consume at one time, which is I think 128 megabytes by default. Now, Selenium cookies APIs provide you the required mechanism for iterating and curing the cookies. Let's see the examples that I prepared for you. So here, by the way, you can download the full all of the source code. It's open source on GitHub. You can find the link in the description below and many other useful resources. So in chapter 15, handling cookies, there is a method where, again, it's simple. Maven project where I first download the Chrome driver using the WebDriver manager. Before each test, I start the Chrome browser, initialize, even in this case, probably in just one place, we'll use the WebDriver wait for it. There will be, I think maybe the next video will be about waits in WebDriver. We'll talk much more about it. And then here we have a method where I play with cookies. So also one more thing here. I guess if you use the wildcard here operator, it will automatically will have access to the cookies. From manage, you access the different methods about the cookies. You can add a new cookie using the add cookie method, where you provide a new cookie class. As you can see, it comes from this package org.openqa.selenium.cookie. This is the class name. And it accepts different things, but the simplest constructor accepts just a name and a value. As we discussed, their simplest form is just key value pair. So this is the method for adding a cookie. To get all cookies, you just access manage, get cookies, and then you can for each them. And you have all the different here, different variables that we discussed that are part of the cookie and that you saw in DevTools. With delete cookie method, you can delete a cookie by name. And there is one more thing regarding Selenium 4. As we discussed, we have this attribute called SameSite. When the SameSite attribute is set as strict, the cookie will not be sent along with the request initiated by third-party website. And basically, this allows a user to instruct the browser to control whether cookies are sent along with the request initiated by these third-party websites, whether this is Analytics or Facebook Pixel or whatever. It is introduced to prevent cross-site request forgery attacks. And basically, same-site cookies attribute accepts these two parameters, lax and strict. To do that, by the way, this feature is basically available from Chrome, I think version 80 and above, Firefox 79 and above, and works with Selenium 4 and later versions. It's not available in Selenium 3. So you can watch the course about Selenium 4 that was previously published on LambdaTest video channel, YouTube channel, and even I think the first video from the series that I recorded was how to upgrade from Selenium 3 to Selenium 4. So yeah, these are the main methods. And now let's see two other like scenarios that we often use cookies in automated tests. I basically found these two websites. One of them is this website called consentmanager.net. I haven't used it in production, but it's basically, it provides us this when we refresh. Actually, I haven't accepted that. Maybe we need to delete the cookies. So when you go to cookies and session storage, or maybe we need just to refresh it, I don't know. But there should be a pop-up of consent. Or no, I don't know. Here. And as you can see, we have this pop-up. And when you click accept, it will, you know, this privacy policy, especially in Europe, it's obligatory. Otherwise, there will be legal consequences. And you can check and check by default, it's possible, and by law, you should be able to mark which of the functionalities of the website you want to accept that use cookies and your information and where they are stored. And this is why actually this, it's not an advertisement. I just found this website to show you how this works. So when you save and when you press F12, as you'll see, these two cookies are loaded and created. And basically, I found out that basically the same values, it generates the same values for particular combination. So as we discussed, many often, especially if you have a more complex website that uses many third-party services that store cookies, you need to make sure that if the user unchecks some of these checkboxes, these services are not storing cookies and that everything is working correctly. However, for automated tests, these pop-ups, they're really annoying and they will stop your automated tests working. And we don't want to spend time waiting for pop-up to show up and then click accept all or whatever. The easiest way to do it is just to copy the names of these two and the values and set them in your scripts, and then we can continue. This is actually what I did here. This is the test without consent. Then I just check the shadow root because this is it's using a shadow DOM, and in shadow DOM, actually in WebDriver, you have this new get shadow DOM root that you can search inside. This is one way you can do it. Another way is using JavaScript to get the element, and then it's shadow root, and then find inside other stuff. This is usually how this new complex HTML5 HTML components work. And then if we need to set, again, if we want to hide it automatically, first we need to land on the website. Then we wait. You can wait for the diff or not. Actually, you don't need that. Actually, we needed it after the assertion here. You set the cookies. Manually, you need to find the values. You need to refresh, then they are applied. And every time the pop-up will be gone. And here I just wait for that this diff, it's not there. This is what I'm waiting for there. Anyways, this is something that we often do in automated tests. Another thing that I wanted to show you is another like simple website that I found. It's not mine, but basically it uses cookies to store login information. I created an account and then I walked in and I noticed that actually it's keeping my details here with user ID, which I told you that during manual testing, you should be careful and this should be avoided. This should be encrypted. But anyways, many often it is possible to generate this encrypted data using some production internal API or production logic that you can call in your tests. And then you can set the cookie. This is like a really popular way to speed up the login process. So I noticed that I can log in with these two cookies that are related to my user. And when we set them, instead of login, I just check that this test reminder that I created, that it's really for my account. And let's see how this works. I call this method simulate login. I navigate to the website. This is really important. You cannot set cookies because they won't be set for the proper domain. As we discussed, the cookies are working for a specific domain, so it's important to land there. So first we navigate, then we set the two cookies that I told you that I created the account for. And then I again refresh or navigate. I notice here that the logic for login is working not with refresh, but I need to navigate again to this internal website page. And then I'm waiting for this test reminder to appear. And it's working perfectly. Let's test it. So yeah, again, you can do that for your, as you can see, it was really quick, but the test reminder show up and the test is passing. You can do that for your tests. Of course, you need to have tests for the registration form, for the login, etc. But this is separate test suite. All other tests that need to check something behind the login, they don't need to pass behind it, right? And also probably depending on with which user you need to log in. Usually in test suite, if they're working like in isolation, your tests, they usually have a separate user for each of them. This means that you need this internal logic. It needs to generate these tokens for you automatically, or if you reuse the browser, you need to keep track of the data. It really depends whether your tests are read-only or you are creating data with them. But you'll figure this out. So this was about handling cookies. In the next video, we are going to talk about how you can how these weights in Selenium work, why it's not a good practice to have thread slips. Also, maybe I will show you some design patterns, part of my book about high-quality tests in automated testing. Thank you for watching. Please put your comments below whether you like the video or if you want to hear about something else, or if you have any questions. Check out, as I said, the LambdaTest blog. Many in-depth articles are published each week. And don't forget to get your LambdaTest certification about Selenium and JUnit. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.